Hello, everybody. I'm just checking to see if this is going live. Give me a sec. Not showing up. Comment if you can see me. I look like I'm naked, but I'm not. And I'd kind of forgotten I said I would do this. So I was in the middle of getting my hair done. Ayaka unta ichikia katarima. So you're seeing me like I am right now. Siikiakaraham koichi. Okay, this does look like it's going live now. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's working. My goodness, I don't want to look completely naked. All right, we're going to talk about a couple of things that have come up this morning while I have been out for my walk, went for a swim, and then I came back in and I saw a lovely message from Bernadette saying she was willing for a carpool, and I'd forgotten about it. So in the midst of doing my hair, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. It's still morning, I'm going to do it. I've been doing a number of soul readings and beyond quantum hypnosis healings as well, or sessions, I should say, particularly this week, kind of every day. Everybody that I've worked with, hello. I have a couple of soul readings left for those of you that have booked them. Thank you for waiting patiently. They're all going to get done next week, so I'll have closed them all out by then. All right, back into what are we going to talk about today? And I noticed right before I came on the live, my truth, okay? And I started tapping into the energy and the peeps I'm going to pull a card for. So if you want me to pull a card, comment, because I'm also looking at my phone and what's coming up on the phone, so I'll see your comment pop up. So there's two cards for two people that said they're open right now for me to pull. And as I was tapping into the energy, particularly of one of you, Bernadette, okay, so hi if you're catching this right now. My truth, my goodness, and it's almost like it's hoarse. Can you hear that? Can you hear? So I'm going to invite that to clear right now, but it's also showing me something around contained expression, contained truth. I'm just doing a little live for a few minutes, and it's a feeling of like, whether it's not safe to fully express how one feels, or it's not safe to even find the words to say it out loud to yourself. So I wanted to talk about forgiveness. But I'm also going to invite that clearing please through my throat. Thank you. All right, my energy is mine. Thank you. Now my throat is clearing, so it's fine. So it's just as I tune in, you can hear my voice coming back. Hello. That is me tuning into the energies and kind of feeling it a bit physically. But I'm going to pull back out of that for a second because I did want to talk about forgiveness. And I'm going to say this card has been coming all week long. For a lot of people, it keeps popping out of the card deck. It is from the Magdalene Oracle card deck. And I didn't pull it specially for you, Bernadette, but it's related. So I'm going to say this wanted to be pulled. It was already pulled because I pulled it for many people during the week. So this is connected to you. Now, as we are looking at it, is the War and Peace card. Okay, if you can see it kind of closer. I don't know, is there too much of a shine from the window in front of me here? We see the hearts, we see the crosses. Now, this is like a sacrifice card as well. When I look at this, I see sacrifice, right? Christ on the cross, but we also have the Sacred Heart. It is a card of duality. It is both a card of loss and a card of love and forgiveness, expansion of the heart. It is also a card of the light and the dark, because we see the black here, everything on the black, right? It's a card that is also the life force draining, right? That's death, right? The red blood into the black. But remembering that through the cross, Christ was resurrected. So we have light being brought to the dark. It is almost like, oh, wow, this is confusing, right? It's almost like the opposites You flip a coin, you have heads. You flip a coin again, you get tails. It's the opposite, but it's the same coin. So it's almost like, how far away from source do we get in order that we choose to come back in right again into the light? And this is a huge blueprint thing in a lot of people, right? What I say by that is, like, we will notice, if you look back over your life, many of us will notice we're born as light. Life happens, trauma happens, SH1T happens, and we're spiraling into the darkness. The older we're getting, it's like, how bad can this get until? And that's the until we make a choice. And for some people, and I'm not going to kind of say this is who I'm pulling the card for now, but for some people it can be literally a life and death choice, right? Whether they make themselves so ill, and people are like, I don't make myself sick. I was going to say, sometimes disease is created through the traumas, okay? Dis-ease, mental, whether it's physical and mental, the physical disease through emotional distress, which causes massive inflammation in the body, and the body goes into an autoimmune disease. So common when we see that. Cancer, so common when we see that. Any other type of illnesses, physical illnesses, they often do tend to root back to massive traumas. Now, some are genetic, there's a different thing there. I'm not saying it as a black and white thing, but in general, we can kind of trace it back a majority of times. And that illness can bring people to death's door as well. Okay, how bad will things get before a choice is made to understand that there is more, there is light? And this card is kind of like that too. It is a choice point card. Are we going to choose to go or choose to stay? Are we going to choose what's heavy or what's light? Are we choosing the dark or the light? Are we choosing love or fear? This is a card of love and fear. It is not just about war and peace. However, I want to talk about that as well. War. We can talk about this in the collective sense, and we can talk about it in the personal sense. Now I'm just going to speak into it, Bernadette, with regards to what's coming up big time for you in this as well. The war aspect. Ancestral things kept coming up, right? And this is before I even came on the live. I just kept getting ancestral healing contracts. War. When we are at war with ourselves, and when there is dis-ease or disharmony in family lineages, and it may not be in every person in the lineage, but it may be just one. But that one creates a war, if you want to call it that, or a chaos energy, or this is through abuse, addictions, crazy anger outbursts, heavy dense energy. It could be the programming. So language that is used that is not building someone up, but it's tearing them down. Programming that's been inserted to control and manipulate. Programming saying that it's truth and it's correct and it's right, this is the only way. But actually behind that there is a distortion. There's always a little truth sprinkled in with a distortion. We want you to look this way, be this way, act this way. This is the role we are giving you. And if you stand outside of that, you're bad, or you're cut out of the family, you're excommunicated. There's like a lot of rules, right? But this is the only way. And if you diverge from this, it makes you. What would it make you, right? Now, this is to do with the war energy that I'm talking about, because really that creates a battle in ourselves. Because then we start to question, we have doubts. What's true, what's not true? Am I a bad person? Why am I reacting in this way? It could even bring up reactions. And when I say reactions, there is a trigger that happens. It could be that whatever the war situation was, and that's the battle or the trauma, it might have happened back when we were 5 years old, 3 years old, 6 years old, 12-year-old. But if we get a sense of a similar energy or even a word that is a remembrance, it's like a trigger, and we go into that same reaction, which is a nervous system response. Anytime there is a war frequency, the nervous system responds, and it moves into a hypervigilant state. Or a fight state. Okay, it's hypervigilant anyway, because it's going to be hypervigilant, to be checking in, what will I say to make, or I'm careful what I say in case. So I better check every word that comes out of my mouth. I better understand how my body moves, how my emotions are presented. You are self-checking yourself. What's the word I'm looking for? Censoring. You're self-censoring yourself so that you are not actually the true expanse of all that you can be. And when we are censoring ourselves constantly, it's a part of hypervigilance. We don't even realize it because we started from childhood. And I had this too. I didn't even know I used to do this because it's normal. It was a totally normal reaction for me. I would walk into a room, gauge the energy, gauge it, almost send like a part of my, I didn't know this was a gift, but it is. It's like the clairsentience, the clairempathy. I would go to the people in the room and it would happen within split seconds. Okay, this person's angry, this person's pissed off, this person's okay. I'm probably safe with them. I'm going to go over there and be with them. But if I'm going to talk to that person that I'm sensing anger from, I'm going to be very careful with how I present myself. That's part of hypervigilance as well. And it means the nervous system is on alert all the time. And if we're on alert, the mind is looping as well. And it's creating scenarios that might not even be true, but it's been triggered by a trauma from childhood or anything like that in the past, or maybe even let me know if it's still working. I'm getting told that I've turned the applications open. Let's see, I hope this is working and it hasn't like frozen. Let me know. Right, I've just closed some apps on my thing. Hopefully that is still working. Okay, so how do we move the nervous system out of hypervigilance? How do we heal the war within ourselves, which is like our minds? And this has got to do with forgiveness too. Should I forgive them or should I kind of hold that? Because if I forgive them, it means that. What meanings do we associate with forgiveness? That's the very first step. What meanings have you been told? What does forgiveness actually mean? And we can have modeled an improper, imperfect way that forgiveness looks. We might think that forgiveness looks like we go back to the old way and we just hope it gets better. We go back to our old routines with the person, we hope it gets better. They promise that they are not going to do whatever they did, and we're hoping it gets better. And that's being a good, forgiving person. How many of us have been told that's what forgiveness looks like, right? How many of us have been told that a good person or, a loving person forgives and allows the person that hurts them back into their life, because that's what true forgiveness looks like? How many of us have been told that or modeled that? How many of us have seen parents that maybe have an abusive relationship between themselves? And I'm going to give an example like an addiction, right? There's an addiction in the family, and one person keeps taking them back, and then it happens again and again and again and again, and they keep forgiving, and they think this is what it is to be a loving spouse, a loving parent, over and over and over, until there are shreds in a house. And is this what love is? Is that what true love is? Is that what forgiveness is? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel good, right? This is what I mean by the distortion on what forgiveness is, and even a distortion on what family is, and even a distortion in the roles that we are put upon us through our families, put upon us through society. And it is a bit of a journey for us to understand what's actually true, and what meaning have we given around everything. So if you have a journal and you like to journal, I would suggest, like, what does forgiveness actually look like to me in my life? What does it mean when I forgive? And I haven't even gotten to the self-forgiveness yet. This is like if there has been an incident or a trauma, right? Because I want to get to the self one too. The fastest way to open the heart and move into the gateway that is forgiveness, that brings us peace, And peace is this word here, right? This is the war and the peace. The fastest way is through self-forgiveness. And then we move out to the other directions of forgiveness. And when I say directions of forgiveness, Tara Love Perry does a lot of this in her work, and her book is very good. I Love You Me, the book. I'll put a link below, so if anybody wants to have a look at that, learn about it a bit more. She has a whole modeling system in there on what forgiveness can be and look like as a healing modality as well. She shows that through self-forgiveness, we open the doors to forgive in the other directions. What are the other directions? The other directions are our families, our communities, incidents or traumas, the source. Because even as kids, if we're in a terrible situation, we're like, why have we been forsaken? It doesn't mean it's true, but that's how we feel. So they're just examples, right, of moving through from self to all the directions of forgiveness. So when I'm going to bring through, I'm going to pull a card for Bernadette as well, not just this one, but I'm going to pull a fresh card and ask for whatever needs and wants to show up for your highest good and highest good of all life everywhere. And I am going to bring through Siya Kiyaka Mahasakti, a light language transmission to assist you, Bernadette, and anybody else then that's watching that may have a resonance that will assist you also. I'm going to read out quickly what I wrote because I had a physical reaction. And this will be linked into the collective as well. So when I am doing personal readings, understand that I am also having the intention that whatever is in the collective is kind of, it's helping everybody else that's watching, and it's helping the energies in the collective as well. I talked about the ancestral stuff coming up to the fore, and it came up in a session I did as well during the week. It's coming up loud again, even though many of us feel like we've already done a lot of ancestral work. It's coming up because as the energies are increasing with the wave that's coming in from June, July, August, September, and our blueprints are turning, they're shifting. We're shifting within our own soul blueprints. And that's a state of evolution. It's a state of expansion. But sometimes as we shift, and I kind of alluded to this in one of my other groups, we were talking about the bees, and when we see, there was a video of a man who got stung by a bee. Maybe you've seen it. It was on Instagram. And the bee was in his hand. And he knew that he would stay still. He wouldn't flick it off because that would kill the bee, right? He respects the bees. But he knew that there was in this barb a way that they could free themselves without dying and hurting themselves. A way that they could once again fly off and live the beautiful life that they need to. But by this sting, that has caused pain to the person, but also to themselves. And this is like an allegory in a way. It's like when we lash out or when we've been lashed out, it's not just hurting us, it's hurting the person that's done the lashing out as well, whether they realize it or not. But let's just go back to the bee. His little stinger is in the hand. And we see in the video, the man discusses, the bee must spiral down further in order to free itself. And he must breathe and stay in the peace and calm to allow it to go deeper. So that as it twists its way out, spirals back up, it's free a little more. And then it spirals a little bit more down. And then it spirals a bit further out. And then it goes down, then it goes out, and then it's free, completely unharmed. And so is he, if you will. The stinger's not left in his hand either. And when I saw this, I had chills because I could see this as such a, relating to the blueprint stuff that was coming in at the time. We are going through the blueprints like that. We are spiraling a little further down and it's a bit sticky. It's not comfy, right? And we're like, I just did this. Why am I going back in here again? But wait a minute. You are seeing and experiencing that trauma or that situation or that memory from another perspective. It may look like the same thing, but you're different. You're now seeing it from a bigger perspective, a broader perspective, a deeper perspective. This is another door for healing, right? It's another way to heal deeper. So that everything comes out. That barb, none of that barb is left. So a lot of us are in that again, and we're like, oh my God, I keep going back over the same thing. Why hasn't this cleared out of my system? Why am I still having a trigger to this? I was fine a year ago with this, and now it's coming up again. Whatever it might be for some of you, this is why. Asikia karama. There is a shift, a clank, clank, clank in a lot of the blueprints right now for many of us on this journey. Ma'asatu imkiyama alhimakate. This gives us opportunity to move into a deeper awareness, forgiveness of ourselves. You know, that man, I forgive that bee for stinging me. It didn't know what it was doing. It felt threatened. Its nervous system was on alert. This was how it was reacting. I forgive you. I love you. I release you, right? And to me, I'm sorry I got stung. I put my hand where it shouldn't have been, whatever, right? So the ancestral stuff that's coming up, it's just because we're spiraling into another part of that blueprint right now. So a deeper healing can happen. A lot of the contracts that our family lineages all the way back have made, right? All those contracts, agreements, vows, oaths, where they have consciously signed away. And when I say consciously signed away, they are agreeing to something, an infiltration of some sort, right? We can track all, like you go back to Adam and Eve. Eve agreed to an infiltration when she said yes to the serpent to bite that apple. That was an agreement. That was infiltration of distortion, dark, a fall from grace, if you will, a fall from Eden. We are moving in our spirals as a collective back out into Eden to create heaven on earth again and within our own blueprints and greater expansion of ourselves, right? So this ancestral stuff that's coming up is so that you can see these contracts more clearly. And you may have already done some of them. One thing I noticed in a session earlier, and this was fascinating, because when we're dealing with this kind of icky, sticky, dark entity stuff, some people might call it demons, some people might call it the fallen angels, some people might call them entities or beings are showing up, or energetic consciousnesses, imprints, implants. It doesn't really matter what word you give to this. It's keeping you stuck. It's making your life a living hell. It is something that is distorting how you perceive your path ahead. It is something that is implanting thoughts into your mind that you start to say, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not love enough, I'm not this enough. And it keeps you at a certain threshold of frequency vibration. Okay? It'll let you get this far and then something locks in to ensure you do not move above that. So it's like a bandwidth container. These contracts start to come through and become more obvious as we start moving through our energetic fields and expanding into the truth and love and grace of all that we be. I hope I'm not speaking too fast. So what I saw yesterday during the week in one of the sessions as well is this being showed up, brought through a family line. So I'm going to give an example without giving away who the person is. And this being, and I could see it was trying to make itself look scary and frightening and dark and gory to frighten that person I was working with. I could see it as they were seeing it, like, you know, and I'm like, I see you. You can't fool me, you know. I've seen a lot of you guys. And that is a thing, to be in our center when we come to these things that are trying to make themselves ferocious and frightening and as if they're more powerful than you, as if they have power over you. They do not and they never will. It looks that way if there's a contract. This thing had come through generational timelines because an agreement had been made way far back that a person in that family had said, right, I'm going to trade something of myself to get something. But what they don't realize is they think it's just themselves, but it runs through bloodlines. Every person born after that contract, because these are tricky little fuckers, that contract follows through the bloodlines. So, breaking all ties and all contracts, identifying where the opening is, where you might call the attack is, where the suppression is, whether it's to do with your voice, the heart, your womb space, creating your families, whether it's to do with your finances, because it'll seep differently into different parts. Sometimes the contracts take life force that make us ill and sick. Sometimes it's like a mind battlefield to create chaos in the mind. Sometimes it is around creation, taking the power of your creation to create the miracle life frequency that is yours. Sometimes it is literally to take your creative power, to stop generations moving forward. Sometimes it's just to create distortion and chaos through addictions, confusion, separation from the source of all that is, darkness essentially. Forgetfulness of all that we be. So we don't really know until we go in and kind of maneuver around what is true, what's not true. But this contract, when we got into one of them, I knew it was tricking. I could feel it, and so could that person. So I commanded that all contracts, it had given us one, just so that we would do that one. And then it was like holding the rest of them kind of behind it, hoping we wouldn't see or notice that it had loads more different contracts that would still give it a stronghold, a legal right on the family, right, to still cause chaos. So recognize that when we're working with these things, it can be tricky as well. With the command of all contracts into one. And then the revocation, rebuking, whatever word you want to use there, rescinding, deleting, destroying, burning up of all those bloodline contracts. Anything done there. Because in a way, anytime there is a contract with an energy or an entity or a source, it is a sacrifice. And this is back to this card again. It is a sacrifice. Something was sacrificed in the ancestral bloodline. It is time to reclaim it now. And I am speaking to you, Bernadette, with this again, but also to the collective. What was sacrificed? Was it joy, happiness, truth? Was it living a healthy, carefree life? If there's addictions there, and that's a form of enslavement, was it freedom? Right? So what was sacrificed? Akyam Kuyati. And if you're the one who's aware of it in the family, and nobody else is because they're still asleep, or they're in such turmoil and torment, because this is about suffering and torment creation, even if it looks like we have moments of beauty and joy, there's still something there, like it's in the closet, and it's just waiting for you to go to sleep and pop out and create something. Anytime there is that, it is usually the person that's aware or asking that question. But sometimes it's what your soul said it would come here to do, to stop it and no longer move through all the future generations. So Bernadette, I feel like there's something here for you in this. There's something in the ancestral and family line. And I'm really sorry that that's true, if it is true. And I'm really sorry if it's not. And I'm totally off the mark and you're going, Mary, you're cuckoo, you're in La La Land. I don't know what you're talking about. But I am going to ask you to breathe in and feel what's true. If you were to notice patterns and how patterns show up and went back, and then again, sometimes it's all hidden. So I'm being told this as well. Okay, there is something hidden in your lineage, Bernadette. Something that was considered shameful. I'm almost not wanting to say this out loud because I want to check in if it's true or not true. I mentioned addictions a lot, but perversion and distortion are also what can be traveled down through, and they're a form of addiction as well. When I'm talking about perversions, anything sexual, right? Incestuous, abuse, use for power and control, anything. And a lot of times things like that are hidden, as well as addictions are hidden as well. Abuse is often always hidden, right? So anywhere that's ever been hidden, but you get a sense something's going on. And it can look like a happy family on the outside, but something's going on. And it could have been a couple of generations back. Anyway, that's true. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And anyway, that's been a burden to carry forward by the generations that saw that, felt that, was a part of that, received that. I am so sorry. Please forgive me across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And where that was perpetuated And what I mean by that is it's like every social construct surrounding a unit, a family unit, an ancestral unit, fails. Neighbours, friends, other relatives, churches, police, school, teachers, like everybody that should be in a space, doctors to help and assist and prevent and watch out, fail and are part of the cover up. Anywhere that's true, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And anywhere the voice was lost of the child, of the mother, of the father, of the son, of the daughter, of the brother, of the sister, of the uncle, of the aunt, of the grandparents, whatever it might be, anywhere the voice was lost, and this is where the distortion about forgiveness comes in. This is distortion, be quiet, shut up kind of stuff. Don't put shame, swallow it down, move on. It's not happening now. I don't know why you keep going back to that. That's like, I can actually hear that being said. What's wrong with you? That happened 20 years ago. Why haven't you just moved on? It's like a gaslight as well. As if there's something wrong with you if you haven't moved on because it has not been acknowledged. And any hurt pain needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be seen. It needs to be felt. It needs to be recognized through the heart. But if the nervous system is hypervigilant, how can we move into the heart? How can we be embodied enough in coherence to move into the heart? So I'm inviting all nervous systems, all people watching me with nervous systems. Take a breath, soften your body. Understand that you're here for you right now. You've made the choice as a soul to stop whatever it is that's continuing. You've made the choice to understand life doesn't have to be this way, with just a little trickle of light, or a little bit of happiness, or a little bit of financial gain, as in abundance, or I can have this, but I can't have that, as if everything is weighed up for what you deserve. Ugh, chikiyama, as I say that, I take that out of my mouth. Anywhere where that has been true, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Kuikia, a distortion on what living is, because I'm bringing Christ into this. And this card holds an energy of Christ, right? The Christos cross, as above, so below, as within, so without. Again, misused symbol, distorted, used for power, control, greed, controlling minds, controlling the masses. And where that's true, I'm sorry, please forgive me, through the churches and religions. But the Christ frequency and the Christ energy, that is Yeshua, Christos, Christ, Jesus, whatever word you have for that, and the frequency that is Christ, that runs through us all, that is the I am of us all. And when we receive that and invoke that and call that in, it is a huge boon, advantage to help us. Even with those of you that are aware of contracts and not sure how to fully clear them or break them, use the Christ frequency light to surround you. Like a force field. Breathe. And for a moment, come to your heart. Soften everything. Soften the face and bring your hands up to touch, caress. Caress under the eyes, above the brows, at the temples. Where all the stress or worry or pressure has been stored. Along the jaws. Open, close, massage the jaws. You might need some oil or cream on your face when you're doing this, but I do advise pause now and just get that for yourself to allow this physical transmission move through you. This is a physical reset. The jaw tends to be a wonderful gauge of where we're holding. The jaw, the mouth, the tongue, they're all connected to your sitting space, your sacred sex area. Energetically it's connected and physiologically there is a connection. If there is tension, pelvis, hips, If there is tension, if you are a lady in your yoni space, your sexual organ space, if you're a man in yours, the back passage, the mouth, right? Everything here, there is a connection. The vocal cords and the throat, it's all connected in to your sexual organs. Ma sakya makaichi. Anger, rage, resentment, and fury live around here. Notice if there's tension in your jaw, repressed anger, being repressed, repressing your speech, censoring yourself, hiding. And that is a nervous state, to hide, to numb out, to disassociate. Anger is another nervous state, to fight, running away, hiding, fleeing. Disassociation are other states. And this can also be found in the jaw or in the pelvis, in the sitting space, the sexual organs. So I'm inviting, as we massage the jaws, soften the jaws, all the way down the neck, the sides of the neck, to the clavicle bones. We're inviting a release of that. And then you just see me yawn, and that's the nervous system response of a release from any tension that I'm holding or I'm feeling into. And you can kind of massage, pull. I can feel my own tension, right? And that's in me, it's like where I'm not fully expressing as well. Sometimes it's hard to communicate if we're not safe to communicate with that person. And sometimes it's not safe to communicate with them full stop. Only you will know. But the very first person you can communicate to out loud is you. And the amazing thing is, you can be the proxy for the other person as well. And have whole conversations which open you up completely. Kaasuyam da'etia kara ankul. I'm going to do a vagal system reset. Hand on the head. I'm not sure if you can see or hear me. Hand on the head. Siobhan, I just see your comment coming up. Catching me here. Thank you. So we're going to put a hand on the head. We're going to exhale, bring it down to your ear, down to the shoulder. Your head not too far forward, not too far back. It's in the center field. And you're going to use your eyes to look up to the ceiling. The optic nerve helps reset the vagal nerve from the brainstem down to, if you're a lady, your cervix, if you're a man, near enough to the perineum. But we have to keep the eyes looking up the whole time, not moving around, right? Breathe in and exhale. And I like to extend my arm for a proper stretch. Only go as far as your neck allows. Your eyes are looking up. You're going to stay in this stance for 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And I'm already having a response, but remember, I've been doing this morning as well. I do these every single day because my nervous system moves in and out of coherence a lot, especially when I'm overstimulated by a lot of people around me. Those of us that are big empaths and feel a lot of other people's information, energy, emotion, we need to be very vigilant on reconditioning and resilience building of the nervous system. Breathe in, come back to center, roll the shoulders, breathe in, let your yawn out. Next one, you're going to breathe in, big breath in, exhale down, and then look up. You can extend your arm for a bigger stretch. Stay looking up, do not move your eyes, stay looking up. Do not move your head down or back, it is center. Sometimes your eyes will be teary, sometimes there's more saliva in the mouth, sometimes you will swallow or sigh or yawn. I tend to yawn quite a lot, but right now I have a lot of saliva in my mouth as well. And there, I'm starting to yawn and sigh and swallow, which is a nervous system response showing a regulation is occurring back to center. If yours takes longer, stay with it. Breathe, don't hold your breath. When you're back to center, massage your shoulders. Good firm massage. These are your surrender points in Chinese medicine as well. Anything you're holding on to, often we have tight shoulders, a burden we're carrying, always something we're not letting go of. So I'm inviting a surrender as you massage. Right, I can tell you even as I'm massaging this, what I'm holding there. And as I'm looking, I can see myself on the screen. This side's slightly higher. Can you notice that my body? It's like I'm holding it up higher. And the minute I started massaging that, this was like, oh, I'm worried about finances, something I'm worried about on behalf of someone else even. Not even mine, it's like I'm taking on their burden. So I'm going to release what's not mine because I'm feeling them. I'm being hyper vigilant, looking to see what they're feeling. I'm like, I'll help them, I'll take it on. And I love that person. So it's not my thing to worry about, so I'm going to love and release and let it go. This is not my story. Right, you can see me having a release here, understanding that I was holding something but didn't realize it until I went into it. So anywhere you're holding financial worries in your shoulders or burdens from others, grief, sadness, the weight of the world even is what I'm hearing, where you're carrying the weight of the world. And if you're carrying the weight of the world, please stop scrolling Facebook. Please stop scrolling Insta, which is kind of ironic because obviously I'm coming to you from Facebook. Hi, Kiana, but there are programs within those social media, Ka'achiyam Kama'achi, and this is something I was going to talk about later, but I'm just going to get into it here. And what I mean by programs is there's coding systems to stimulate your nervous system to create an emotional response so that you are brainwashed essentially for their use of advertisements. And they learn how you tip, how you work. I always knew this energetically for years. It's only coming out as science now. Now they're showing the science regarding this. How Kuichiyan Karma, they bring you on a high and you feel good, and then they bring you on a low, and they're alternating the dopamine signaling within the brain. And when they're doing that, you're easily programmed. You're easily programmed when you doom scroll. I'm as like guilty of this as well. I just pull myself out when I find myself doing that. And I always have to come into my mind and say, I'm sorry. Like, I merge my mind with the Christ mind. I clear myself out. Anybody else want to card, tell me, because I'm finishing with this one. I'm going to pull one more for Bernadette because there was so much that came up for you. But because this isn't a one-to-one session or anything, I'm doing as best I can. I'm still serving the collective energy. Infiltration was another word I wrote down. Okay, Bernadette. Infiltration in the bloodlines. Infiltration in a family scenario. What we might see is somebody, and my throat's starting to go now, somebody that we love. This is where it might not feel safe. Wow, can you hear that? Can you feel that? So if this is true, I am so sorry. And on behalf of all that is love and on behalf of that, all that is source, God, Christ, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Again, take a breath, soften to your sitting space, soften your sitting space. Soften the, I'm going to keep saying that because you're holding. Soften on the exhale, right? On your sigh, and soften the urethra almost to the point of peeing. Soften the perineum, soften the back passage. Not so much pooping will happen, but you know what I mean. You'll feel it on the exhale. I'm kind of teasing, but that's soften. Hypervigilance and hypertonic go together. Hypertonic, okay, there'll be tension in the colon. There'll be tension running up to the bladder, so UTIs or incontinence, prolapse, or issues having intimacy, issues with reproductive system, your blood flow, like your menstrual cycle, right? Hypertonic and hypertonic people end up with prolapses. If you have a prolapse, maybe that was why as well, right? Not just through childbirth, but in general. I have no medical background. I'm just telling you what I see when I do soul readings. So I can't give a medical sounding board for that other than to say this is what I see. Soften and receive your breath. Your breath is the gift of life. It is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. Receive it. Soften. Soften the jaw. We've massaged it. Soften the tongue like a baby soft tongue. Soften the esophagus and the airways all the way down to the belly. Soften the belly and the breasts and everything there. Soften the diaphragm. Anyway, the diaphragm is in shock. I am sorry, please forgive me. Put your hands on the diaphragm and press in. Massage it. Right, so I'm doing this under my breasts, under the ribs. I'm massaging it because I feel like the diaphragm is so tight from stress. And you can't get the full, it's like when you try to breathe, you're only getting to here. Is that true? Let me know in the comments. Is that true? It's like I can't fully expand. Ooh, throat going. I can't fully expand my rib cage, and it hurts if I try to. And then there's a collapse in the shoulders. Bring everything back to center, head back to center. Soften out the hips, soften the sitting space. Massage under the breast, under the rib cage. Nice, firm, in there. Get in under. And breathe, right? Ooh, I'm now massaging at the sternum. And I'm having a release. I'd show you, but you'd be getting a show of a different kind because I got it wrong. So I'm trying to describe it. And you can put your hands like this and bring it in. You're doing this, you're firm into the diaphragm, and then you go left and you go right, or you go right and you go left, you go all the way, and then you go all the way back in. This is an exercise you can continue doing lying down before you go to sleep tonight. And every time you're doing that, you're breathing, you're softening, and you're inviting the diaphragm to come back into its natural elastic state so that your breath can be fuller, deeper, and at the same time, you're regulating the nervous system. Another breath work to do with that while sitting down, lying down, is the double inhalation. I go through this in the sound bath journey. I'll put it in here because I kind of go through it, but shortly. It's an open mouth inhalation. It's a double breath. The first breath goes to the chest. It's short. The second breath goes down into the belly. The belly extends and it's longer. So I'm going to exaggerate it so you can kind of notice, right? Put a hand here and a hand on the belly. Now my belly is doing this. My chest is coming out a little, then my belly a little more. So it's like, you come in. That's the double inhalation. You can do that while massaging. It'll really open that diaphragm because a lot of people have shock in their system. The diaphragm seizes, we can't get a full breath. That helps. And then the open arched back, putting something onto the midsection of the back like a roller and lying back and putting your hands on the floor like this. That'll also physically open and expand that space. The muscles start to remember their true sequence. So there are two things that I didn't think I was going to get into here. But the physical stuff is as important as the mental and emotional and energetic right now. Uankya, supporting our physical bodies. Or Ampya, with the energies I keep talking about are coming through. We're going to be called into that more and more and more and more. Okay, the other thing I wrote for Bernadette is getting a bit longer than I thought it would be. I talked about the infiltration, clear all that through time, space, dimensions, and realities. I'm going to ask the Christ frequency to start working with you. Archangel Michael is big in you and in your generational lines as a source of light. Call him forward. Where there has been false messages relayed through the family lines, revoke, rescind, delete that as a contract right here, right now. Where there has been false light infiltrating. So false light, big for the collective right now. We need to be so aware, not hypervigilant, aware in our presence of false light showing up. And we're going to see a lot of channels. And I'm sorry to say that. People on Facebook, people on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and they think what they're bringing through is truth. And this kind of, I don't know, it does disturb me a bit when I feel, I've shown this again today, and I'm aware it's there, but I was shown it. And I was shown it because it is an outside interference frequency. And it's coming through those that have an open channel, but they're not fully, their nervous systems are out here, and they're channeling from out here. And they're not able to discern fully. Unless you're fully embodied, it's very difficult. And I'm not saying I'm fully embodied, but I'm very aware when I'm not, and I'm very aware when I am. You will not see me come on here when I'm out of it. I will clear what's taking me out, and then I will think about coming in. It has to be in integrity and truth, where all of my senses are turned on to understand what is true and what is not. And hopefully you feel that from me, because I want to be that. I want you to feel that in the resonance of the words that I speak and the energy that I bring forward. Do I get it right all the time? No, but am I checking? Yes. Am I trusting? Yes. I'm trusting that the information that I receive is for the highest good. My intention is set to that, and I am within the heart to bring that forward. But also my nervous system, like you heard me say, I've been working on it this morning all the time. Discern who you listen to. Discern what you listen to. Just because it's true, this is a bit of a double-edged sword, what I'm going to say here. Just because it's true, appears true, even has science to back it up, does not mean it's coming from a source of truth. Because even those that are sharing it, when they're sharing it with their mouth or their tongue, that is not aligned to love, truth, and the highest source, that will have a coding in it as well. They'll have 95% truth and they'll have something they add in as well. Wow. Right, that's me tapping into what's happening. That little thread that I'm talking about, that little tongue thread that they're adding in, that's not truth. That's a trap of false light. And usually you might feel good hearing the whole message at the time, and it's like over time, confusion starts to come through and doubt and like, what's going on? Now, some of that is we have to work through our own doubt. So recognize there will always be the outside stuff, but there's also the inside stuff. Sometimes there's our own fears as well. And sometimes actual truth can shake that up within us as well. Discerning that is another, I'm going into this. Discerning that is another level of awareness. And just because you'll know, actually, you will know, your heart will know. Because I asked this today. I'm like, how do you know when truth is spoken, but it makes you feel icky and off? But it's only making you feel icky and off because you recognize it within yourself and you understand that that is not true within you and it needs to move and shift. But what it is true. Whereas the other one is, it may sound and look beautiful and pretty. It may be true to an extent, 80% true, 90% true. The other part isn't. That's the part we want to really discern. That's different to the other one that is true, making you icky. That's our own stuff we've got to clear. And knowing the difference, that's discernment. Okay. In your family line, I wrote also programming and controls, good versus bad, light versus dark. These seem to be themes. And part of that is a programming. It's the duality programming. When you are, then you will be. Then you will be worthy when you are thin enough, rich enough, fulfill all the duties and expectations enough. That's false light. That's programming. Anywhere that's in your family line burns out. Focus into the sometimes space dimensions and realities. Blessed Mother, Ma'au Ikir, Vur Freki, Krumso, Christos Masakari, Heemia Mara Atur, Hayur, Sava Asur, Ir, Sava Aswar, Hekur, Lir, Kur, Pre, Kwas, where the reproductive lines have been contained to only create in a certain way. Revoke us into that for all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And the story of what creation looks like, which is not absolute truth, revoke us into loop. Anywhere you're punished for sin, that's another one coming up in the family line. Punished for sin, put on the cross and sacrificed for sin. I am sorry, please forgive me. Where you're no longer deserving of love or something is withheld, and this is how the punishment looks, I am sorry. In other words, it's conditional. Love is conditional. Anywhere that is true, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And I invite the distortion in the mind with that, because that creates loops and distortions. Inviting the merging of the Christ mind, please. Who is he to help with the brain circuitry and reprogramming, please? Where we are effort improving, trying, working from our will, not divine will. I invite in the Christ divine will, source divine will, God's will, if you will. Merge. Christos will merge with me. When I say with me, I mean all of us watching. I merge my will with the divine. It is no longer coming from me and my hard work. It is through me as a channel of divinity that life is created, that things happen. It's per manifestation, right? Where the manifestations of channels have been hijacked and distorted. We'll focus in to leave that for all time, space, dimensions, and waters. Where sacrifices has been made in family lines, community lines, in order that something is created or manifested. In other words, a lot of people do this for fame and wealth. But people do this for other reasons too. Even health, they'll sacrifice somebody, siphon the energy so somebody else can be healthy in a family. This is like magic, dark magic. And people don't know it is. Through the will of Source, I am the channel of creation. The more I trust, the more I increase my faith. Into the field I emerge. The field, the quantum field, the divine field, the universal field. The field that is the fabric of Source itself, where the Holy Spirit resides. That field. Swim in that field. Merge with that field that is presence. It is divinity. It is love. That field is love. That field is in you. When they say the kingdom of God is within you, that's what they're speaking about. We've forgotten. The field within you, activate now. Come online and remember the truth of all that you be. We're just working on the blueprints as well. Soften into the sitting space, feel your feet anchor into the earth, as above, so below, and as within, the kingdom within, so without. This is us as the living bridges, us as heaven on earth, in this presence. Now, Bernadette, this was a journey, but a lot of what I tuned in is also reflected for the collective with you. So I bless you and I thank you. I talked about discernment today because we're coming up to the solstice, and a lot of freaking rituals go on around the solstice. Some of the light and some of distortion, even false light. And not only that, there's a third one, some actively for the dark, because that's just a portal. It's just an energy. It's neutral in a way, right? Where they can draw energy in, they will use it for their own greed. And I was feeling into that because I know discernment is important during these times. Because when these rituals are coming out, the coding I'm talking about, I did a live on this, and it was a friggin' an hour and 45 minutes. And I even I did a diagram on how the three timelines look. You have the lower timeline. Again, these are my words, right? You could call it the interference timeline, the distorted timeline, the 3D timeline, the matrix timeline. It doesn't really matter. Then you have the false light timeline, which is also a form of distortion, but looks like love, looks like oneness, looks like all of that. However, it's not, right? And then you have the absolute source, which is the absolute source code timeline. It's the highest potential timeline of you in your I am in presence. It is the timeline, highest potential timeline of heaven and earth. Now there are loads in between that, but these are the three I'm speaking about just because you couldn't go into all of them. It'd be crazy to. These are usually the collective ones. During these ritual, there you go, ancestor spirit. We're talking about the ancestors, Bernadette. Here we go. Connect to your lineage. Could you make these cards up when you pull them? A family wound or pattern can be healed now. This is what has been talked about. Aki aki ama aki aki unki aki akatabo uki akatama ayi di handa hiata. This is bloodline healing, bloodline clearing. Right, so these are the two cards you were working with, Bernadette, but also the collective. Ma'akante unki akuki akatahatu amkala ati amaka abasa. If we were to look at the lower timeline as a matrix, everything's made up of codes, everything's made up of energy, everything's made up of sacred geometry, everything is made up of the word, and the word creates. Okay, that's a code. It's coding. It's like programming on a computer. And it's easy for me to kind of talk about it because we know what computer coding is, we know what computer programming is. We're made up of that as well, but in the quantum, if you will, right? We're a quantum code. When people are doing these rituals that are linked to that matrix, that lower vibrational field timeline, they send out codes to increase the level of entrapment, increase the level of distortion, increase the level of chaos on earth. And those that are at a vibrational match, or we haven't quite healed what we need to heal in the bloodlines even, and there's a doorway open still for us to close through that, we'll feel things come up to the surface right now. And it's because of the intensity of the plasmic light coming in that they're activating this. Or it's, I say they, entities, whatever you want to call them. Some people call them archons. They call it the war between dark and evil. If you were Catholic or a Christian, you might say demonic forces are at play. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's a program at the end of the day. Here, we live in a simulation, right? They've proven that in science now. We live in a holographic field. And the amazing thing is, if it's a holographic field, we have the power within us to shift and change it. Nothing is static. Everything is in movement and flow. Like there's always the brilliance of one side against something that feels dark. So these gateways and portals, like the solstice, we see a lot more increased activity around them. So come back in with your nervous systems all the time, with your heart-mind coherence. What makes you feel good? Come into the heart, breathe into it. What makes you smile? Replay images that are loving and positive so that your brain clicks and moves to the heart space, allows the heart to take over. You're not in vigilance, looking at what the masses are doing, worried about whatever it is, war, strife, oil crisis. It doesn't really matter what's happening outside. You might go, that's not sense because it's affecting my life. What's the most important thing? Your energy. What's the most important thing? Your energy is your wealth. Your energy is into your health. Your energy, health is your wealth. If they're trying to pull you out of that, who's got the power now? It's not you. It's that. Always be in presence, truth. Kama Sayuti. And this is here to break the contracts, break the links. I think we have done a lot on that now, but it's just a confirmation. Makati. So, Siobhan, another deck to pull for you. Hi Thomasina, how are you? It was your birthday recently. I saw it pop up. I hope you had a good one. I hope your art is going well. I think I've seen one or two things because I've been in and offline, and what I saw was beautiful, made with natural materials, absolutely gorgeous, from the land and the earth, the connection to the earth and mother, the elements. Very talented, Thomasina. And for Siobhan, Harod Harer. For I have one card pulled, I'm going to pull from another card deck. Okay, two cards came out, so of the second, but the first one I'm going to. First one is Lemuria, which is the Heaven on Earth card, and I pulled that last week, I think. And again, it was about breaking the ancestral ties and creating heaven on earth. So this is you are the vessel of heaven and earth. So this is you moving into your presence, into your truth, even more, even deeper embodiment, even deeper alignment. Because everything that we're moving through, so we're moving more into coherence and into alignment. right? That's everything that's happening right now. Kasiya Kamakti. Lemuria is the memory that the collective holds as a time that existed when it felt like heaven, when it felt like heaven on earth, where there was love. Wow, my throat's going. Where there was love on earth. Kuesiki was a matriarchal society. Oatiat Kamakati. Everybody shared everything with everybody else. There wasn't like a money. There was a different political and monetary systems. It was huge into everybody helping everybody else. Everybody helping everybody else, coming from the heart. Tapped into the field. So they were in the field and could see through the dimensions. They could see through the timelines. And they could choose which potential timeline they wanted to create as a collective or individually. What would bring them into the greatest connection of source through them, of creativity through them, and witnessing, being as witness to those maybe that were struggling with something, because there still were struggles, by the way, in Lemuria, because the soul still wanted to learn. It just wasn't as distorted as it is now. There still would have been things they moved through, but not as not like what we're looking at today. Makati. And everybody helped. That was the difference. Everybody came together. Everybody learned something from the experience. It wasn't just the person experiencing. So it was a whole different way of being. And that's what we're here to create as well. It's not, when we're talking about heaven and earth, it's not the ethereal, the gateways, the pearly gates. We're not talking about being dead to experience it as spirit. This is the version as physical to be the experience of it on earth, anchoring it. What the Christ was here to do when he came. Healing, seeing, offering paths, ways, being the way shower. This is the path to truth. This is the path to love. This is the path to life. Look, follow me. I'll show you. I've done it. I am the heaven on earth. Right, Shiva? So anything that you're doing is kind of like a way showing in the anchoring of this. I'm seeing the waterfalls now like flowing, like floodgates opening, dams flowing water down, because that will help wash away the distortion, either in any family line or community line. And I'm going to especially say sisterhood line, because there is a distortion of what people, and this is part of the false light stuff, okay? What people think is a divine feminine XYZ, or they've had circles, but they're full of distortion. And it comes out, and you can see where it rears its ugly head, right? You see attacks or jealousies or back talking, backstabbing energies. You name it, it's there. I've been a part of spaces like that, I've seen it. And I needed to be part of that, and I needed to see it to understand it. So I know what is true when I want to create it, or when I become a part of it and it needs cleaning up. Because you're going to be the way shower in that space. And you've got to be in your truth and call it out when you see it. Because that's coming in too. Siobhan, I need to say this out loud too. Okay, siamo kuiakate machi. And I've been a part of that myself very recently. Like, yay and nay. This works, that doesn't. That's the old energy. All right? And there is a calling in to be really crystalline in what is true and what is not true. It's not just a little true, it has to be pristine. And sometimes it looks like you're tearing apart the old. You can't sometimes build on the old. Sometimes that's gotta be let go of. Even if it looks like you're letting go of something, like, what do you mean? I put a lot of work into this. What do you mean I gotta let it go? I have so much of my heart and soul and energy went into that. What do you mean I've gotta let it go? You'll know. You'll know when, and you'll know how. Siobhan is saying, I bring in the waterfall all the time in my work. Okay, because I got a vision of that as well. And sisterhood wounds are real, and I'm trying to weave a new way. It hasn't been received well when I've called it out. Okay, I'm going to get real. I had this very conversation in a session yesterday as well about sisterhood wounds. I'm going to open my mouth, and if you need to, do it with me as well, because we're going to open the lips. And this softens down here, because we're talking about sisterhood wounds, right? We've maybe experienced it, maybe been a part of it. You may be the instigator without realizing it. Whatever it is, right? Just let it all go. So I'm doing horse lips. This is called horse lips. I'm blowing the air, breathing down deep, out through the mouth, and I'm opening the mouth where it's tight. But also I'm recognizing when I go into that, I'm talking about, because I'm actually navigating something right now as well, Siobhan, just different. So open the womb space, open the ovaries. These are like power creation points. And urethra, vagina, perineum, back passage. So when you're doing that, just bring your awareness and consciousness to all those places and the solar plexus. Let it run down through to the solar plexus. That breath as if you were vibrating here and all the way down to your other lips. Let's breathe in. Now that was just air. 3 goes for air. I now want you to bring your voice and your tone in, because that's your resonance, that's your vibration. It's a tonal frequency. You want to bring the all the way down. You'll feel it into the cervix, right? You want to hear and feel the vibration run down. All right, I'm not sure if the sound will be picked up. My nose is itchy, I can feel it vibrating. But I am toning with my voice as I'm doing this. So you can do that a few times. Soften the solar plexus and the area that feels disempowered there. The part where there's a cord connecting you to certain sisters, certain timelines. Because it's as if there's a timeline bleed through. I want you to feel if that feels true. Timeline bleed through. Not just this life. Other life connected to other sisters. And even if there are particular sisters in this life, they're connected as a memory to that past life. Like their soul might have been part of that. And it's not really past, it's parallel, it's now, it's future, whatever it might be. But there is a crack in the timeline. And I feel that crack happened because it was trying to understand, being confused when something happens. How can they not understand what I mean or say or do or feel? Why are they perceiving it this way in their triggers, whatever it might be? And then it's as if a little time hole was opened through confusion, hurt, disappointment, feeling attacked. And I think it's the feeling attacked. I need to check into that. Yeah, that's my physical reaction right there. So the feeling attacked or suppressed or repressed, which you can hear, it's like an energy. It's like being pushed on top. Like, take this shit, right? I don't even know if it's done consciously. Maybe one person was and the rest were just following the lead and not really conscious of what they were doing, or that was true. I'm really sorry. I'm not sure how many years ago this was, how recent it is. Wherever that was true, I'm really, really sorry. Please forgive me. I also understand part of your soul knows it's going to experience this coming in. But that little timeline thing there, it's so fine. It's like a hairline fracture in time, and you went in to try and gather information to understand things better. And where there was big reactions there, and where there was a vibrational match to that attack energy. Ah, yeah, okay. So there's a couple of memories of different times, like where you were the sacrifice, but you actually willingly agreed to be the sacrifice in order to save. It was like something terrible, catastrophic was going to happen, and to save the people and to save the earth, you had to die, and you became the sacrifice. Again, we're coming back to this sacrifice energy again, guys. It is a distorted sacrifice frequency. But that was the only way out that you could see at the time. This is pre-Christ era even, right? We thought this was the best way is what I'm hearing. We thought this was the solution. Like atonement. And you agreed. You're like, I will. because I love them. I will. Because I love them so much, I will give my life. However, some of the sisters knew, not all of them, right? This is a very small amount of the collective of the sisters there that were involved in this, knew that there was a potential to siphon energy through the portal that you would become as you were dying. And they wanted to be more powerful. In their ego, they thought this would help them help others. But really, that was their way. They were, saying it to themselves, like to make themselves feel better about it. It wasn't the truth. And by doing that to you, by moving out of the purity, which was what you were in purity, integrity, of intention by giving your life for this. The other sisters were as well. But those few that weren't fucked it up and created a cycle of wounded sisterhood, distorted sisterhood, power grabbing, hungry mongrels eating each other up to try and launch off the back of somebody else. Stealing content would be an example of that. Not having grace, ridiculing. So, not having grace if someone makes an honest mistake, it turns to ridicule and attack. Not looking to see anything from any other perspective than their narrow focus. And this is a big thing with the energy now. We must broaden our perspective to understand the potentials that are at our fingertips. That's a big thing that needs to happen. An idea or program that sisterhood has to look a certain way, be a certain way, have values that are a certain way. I need to say, but there's a journey to that as well. Creating confusion and misunderstandings, backstabbing, cat calling, like all that cattiness behavior. Anyway, that's true. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And misuse, abuse, power, and magic. Now, I'm going to show you the other two cards because these might be linked to what we're talking about. I'm going to have to pop off after this and actually finish my shower. This card. Freya, phases and cycles. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. That's what you're moving into. You're ending those old cycles, those old timelines with the sisterhood stuff. And look at the crow, like I'm getting chills. Look at the crow, which is the wisdom, the sight, the psychic sight, under the power of the moon. However, this moon for me isn't a moon. That's a distortion too. Release all the distortions associated with moon stuff because there's a lot out there. There's very little that is absolute truth with the moon. This I am going to reference as the Christ halo. Right? You know, we always see the saints and Christ with that like halo. That is the expansion of the Christos frequency. I'm going to say that. This is the wisdom of discernment. This is the complete connection to the Holy Spirit, the Ruach, Shekinah, Alhimka, Mukukia, Kadash. This is the connection to that frequency that is completely divine. Ma'asim, for the love of all. Har where we are completely loved and forgiven. To end the cycles of sacrifice and to be resurrected fully into the truth of all that we be and the light. To understand that our journeys contain both the dark and the light. So we could make the choice right now to end those old cycles. Clean up those old timelines, seal them. How do we do that? We recognize what we're feeling regarding it. Disappointment, disillusionment, sadness, grief, even that feeling attack or psychic attack. Persecuted, that's the word I was in. Persecution. Love that's not true. Like, it looks like love. They tell you they love you. They'll even do a few things that look like love. Give you a birthday cake on your birthday. Write you a card. But something's going on behind the scenes. And you can feel like, is that love? They're showing me it is, they're telling me it is, but I'm not feeling it as absolute, it's conditional. They want me to show up a certain way. So that is an ending of that as well. There are going to be sisters that just won't be ready. All right, they're still tied up in their cycles. The discernment aspect of what I'm speaking about will be important for you to understand moving forward and creating new, because it will be a new foundational creation that needs to happen. Because I'm going to reference this coming in. I cannot tell you how strong it is. This wave of plasmic frequency light, it's just trickling right now. Wait for the next couple of months, June, July, August, September. Okay, and that is just the beginning of that sequence of waves, which is amplification of the Christ light frequency around us as well. At the same time, those that choose to stay where they're at, that will amplify for them and how it looks for them, and it won't be pretty. They might get away with it for a while, and then it's going to hit the SH1T fan. Okay? It's not your job. It is not your job to rescue. It is not your responsibility to save. See how loud I'm getting saying that? That's not me speaking. That is the source. Okay? Discerning when it is to step in, that will be absolute presence of coherence, nervous system regulation, heart activation, for you to listen and have the knowing when it's appropriate. More times than not, it will not be appropriate, because that's their journey. You're creating something new. You do not want to get pulled in to an old frequency loop, trying to help. And a lot of us try to do that, particularly those of us that can see what's going on, those of us that feel empathy, those of us that know it can be better, because we are feeling it better. We've been better. We're like, hey, come over here. Can you not feel it here? Why are you there? Like, come on. We can encourage. We can give the invitation. At the end of the day, it'll be their choice. And not every, it really is going to be a hard pill to swallow. Even for me, I'm going to say that. Because I'm having a reaction saying this. Because I feel like, as I'm saying this, right, I can feel it in my heart. I feel like I might have some hard decisions to make in my life. I don't know when, because I feel like this is coming through me to prepare me too. Because we're on the same journey, right? So I want to actually, I'm tapping into that in me too, right? I'm breathing. Okay. Did you see when I did this? That was me not wanting to fully feel it. So I need you to recognize this. You're seeing me go through it, right? I need to be in my integrity to do this, right? Oh, feel this on my shoulders, right? So my lip doing this, that's the tightening of down here too. I'm just recognizing it as it's happening in my body, because it's just my natural response. But once we see it, we're aware of it, we're going to bring our attention to it, bring our softness. My heart is coming straight into my heart. My hand that's activated right now is going right on my womb space. So it's my womb and my heart. A little bit of my solar plexus, but I want it on my womb more, because that's my power, like real power of creative force on my heart. And I'm going to yawn. And for some reason, my mouth keeps getting tight. That feels like resistance to having to speak up. When we see something that's out of alignment and we're in the space, we've got to speak up. And it's like we're wanting to hold it in for as long as we have to. We're hoping they figure it out on their own. That mightn't happen, and we've got to speak up. And then the hurt is the heart pain I'm feeling, the grief is hurt that it may not always be received. In fact, it will be thrown back at you. And the outcast, I'm seeing this outcast, be gone. You know, like that, be gone. Excommunication from a space. It could be a space you actually created. I don't know if that's true or not true. Like, this is that the mind boggles when we kind of feel this, right? Maybe true, maybe not true. Maybe this is doing me because I'm reading me too as I'm connecting in. There's a resonance I'm having with you on this. It's ironic, like, if that's true, I'm really sorry, please forgive me. And any part of me that is baffled by this, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And I'm laughing because I'm like, this is a joke. Please forgive me. It's almost like I'm going like the audacity of those people. How dare they? And this is your natural, like your anger will come up under the hurt, right? And be told you breathe through it all. You let it flow through. Because what's the absolute truth? What is there? Is there another truth to everything? Is there another truth? And I'm like, yeah, there's always another truth because I'm making this about me right now, right? I'm going like, what does this mean about me if this happens and what did I do wrong? They're like, what if there's another truth? I'm like, okay, ha. What if the other truth is you're the trailblazer once again and you're going to create something new? And it will be felt by those in the resonance that need that frequency. And the others will do their own thing. And they'll do their journey. It might just be slower. It might look different. It's not your job to rescue. It's not your job to try and make it right. You know when though. And that's when and I can almost see this like silver golden channel, you know, like your channel. And it's like shaking up, like vibrating. Because we're being asked to be the vibrational presence of that in the certainty and truth of, no, this is what it needs to be. This is how new earth is created. This is how heaven and earth is embodied. I choose to be that now. And then it's like, God, source, Christ, Yeshua, show me the way now. Show me the way. I trust you. Show me the way. Let me be your will. Right? Let me be the instrument of that will. What is that? What does it feel like? What does it look like? And you soften into it, and then you're the field of that creation. You're magnetic in it. And it's going to take a little bit of mind reprogramming because they're showing me self-doubt. I'm working through that myself a lot, like really honest. Huge stuff for me since January on that. This year, kind of moved out of it end of May, June, not that long ago. And it was a journey around doubt and releasing seeds of doubt. And I saw it even as black matter. In my brain, I saw doubt. And it was like tears through continuum, tears through time-space continuum. And I had to release anti-life. That was doubt. So sometimes check in with your doubt, move in. Where is it in the brain? Where is the doubt in the brain? How is it running you in the background? Doubt is fear as well. Like, how is it running you in the background? With the decisions that you make, with the people that we interact with the thoughts that we're having, which are linked to our creation. How is doubt running us? How is fear running us? And I went into that. I was in a meditation in group space, and somebody was talking us through, like, moving from the crown, blah, 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 down. I couldn't go down. I was right there. And first I saw the white light, because I was working with Christos light a lot. I was merging. This is a great exercise to do. I did it in my Christos Spiral group. We had Yeshua working with us a lot. And it was about the mind merging, the Christ mind merge. And we increased like a quotient of light in the mind, and this was helping us reprogram. And I went in, I saw this light, and all I could see was light. My eyes were closed. I was like, the light was so bright, so bright, so bright, so bright. And I was like, oh my God, wow, wow, wow. Amazing. And then it was like, wait, it was like just beyond the threshold of light, a little part of me had a little black dot. And that little black dot was doubt. And then I talked to it. Hello, little black dot. I'm sorry that you're here, doubt. Now, forgive me, I'm only seeing you now. Even though I'm filled with light, I still have this doubt. That is a counter. What is that? That's a counter manifester. That counters any manifestation I intend to create. You know, if we want to align our minds and our hearts and our wombs of creation and our divine wills, and yet there is a seed somewhere still, it is countering what I endeavor to create and manifest into this beautiful life and miraculous flow. And as I spoke more and more to that little blacked out, there's a reason I'm saying this to you, so I don't know what it is yet. There's a reason. And it spoke back to me and it said, I am anti-life. I am anti-life. I am anti-life. And I've kind of alluded to this a little bit in other lives I've done. Now, the anti-life doesn't just live in our minds. It can live anywhere else in our bodies. But for me that day, because I was doing mind work, working on programs, that's where I was brought. And it was like dots. There was even more than one. There was like little dots, like periods, full stops. And as I was talking to it, it was like a black goo. And I'm like, it's like dark matter, sticky black goo. And I was like, where are you from? It's like, it's not even from this universe. It's not from this realm. It's not meant to be on Earth. It's not meant to be in humans. And I talked to it, and it's not evil, right? It's not evil, but it's not meant to be here. That doubt, it feeds doubt. This is what I'm talking about, right? It didn't have a food source when it entered through a tear. Again, I could see where a tear happened. I talked about tears with you. This is interesting. But this time, that was a tear through time continuum. This was a tear through space continuum. So it was a tear through space and through another universe or another world or whatever you want to say. This came in. It's not meant to be here. It's away from home. Bless it, So I was like, I'm so sorry you got lost. You're not meant to be here. And I'm sorry that maybe I was a vibrational match and you came in, or maybe you were passed down to a bloodline or whatever. Just having a general converse about you and telling you how I kind of approached it. And it's been here a very long time. And the longer it's been here on Earth, the denser it's become, because our consciousness is dense. And then it feeds off the density, because that's how it found a way to feed. It had to find how to live. It found a way to feed by feeding off the density. But then in turn, it became denser, and it was a vicious cycle and loop. And then it couldn't leave. It can't leave because it's stuck too. Poor little black dot, poor antimatter life. Now, part of the antimatter life, the doubt, was also around the doubt of being in this body. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to be here. I'm not sure I want to be here. I'm not sure I want to live like this. Right? And it fed on me there, particularly. Those thoughts of like, I don't know if I do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to live. Now, they're unconscious some of the times. They're not always conscious thoughts, but they're running us in the background. Particularly if we have self-hatred, self-doubt, unworthiness, self-punishment. There's something at the back of that, running. Right? And it's feeding on that. Not always these little black things, sometimes it's the entity stuff that I talked about, that I came across yesterday, demonic stuff. Sometimes it's that. Or imprints, implants, consciousnesses. This is a consciousness, but it's not demonic, right? It's different. So, ikasam siakati, and it was like a spot of doubt amongst everything. I loved it back. I forgave it. It forgave me, because there was a symbiosis going on. Hello, antimatter life. I'm sorry that I have these thoughts about not wanting to be here. I'm sorry that you're giving them to me as well. Please forgive me. I'm sorry that you doubt yourself about being able to go home. I'm sorry that I doubt myself about being here, being home in my body. Please forgive me. There's always a resonance somewhere, even if it looks like the opposite. And I'm sorry you feel unloved, just like I feel unloved. I'm sorry you feel unworthy, just like I feel unworthy. Please forgive me. And then you go into it. And then you say, I love you, and I'm really sorry you're not meant to be here. What if there was another way that you could live? It's not in me. That's not anti-anything, but pro. What if you could be pro-life, pro-faith, pro-love? How would that feel? What if I could find a way to bring you home? Maybe even to a better home. How would that feel? And I had a whole conversation. And in the end, again, with the help of Christ, and I use Archangel Michael quite a bit sometimes as well, and the I Am presence, we opened a portal and off it went. Now, black goo is being used as a weapon, because it's been used, and you don't think I'm crazy saying this, but it has been used by the military. They know what this is already. They're probably calling it part of a dark matter force, part of an antimatter, anti-life, anti-plasma even. I don't know what they're doing with it or calling it, but I have seen it being used in, like they've been able to make it into matter by some type of thing, right? Vibrational or whatever. They're able to almost make it, they're able to trap it essentially as a consciousness and then create from it, but not good. They're creating anti-life again with it to destroy, using it to destroy things. It's part of that darkest stuff. You don't need to know any of that though, but that's just an aside. The thing is, we have the power. We are so powerful, we don't even know. Through love, like that, open conversations, we can shift realities, shift timelines and moments. We can create and recreate and uncreate and give life back to something and giving ourselves life back in return. How amazing are we? Supreme protection is the second card that popped out for you, Siobhan. And it is Green Tara, you're protected, the cords are being cut, move beyond your limitations, trust. Now, what is the opposite of doubt? What is the opposite of doubt? It is trust, right? What is the opposite of fear? It is love. Trust and love, that's this card. And when we are in trust and we are in love, we are naturally protected. Right? We have a force field of protection around us. And I'm going to leave it there at that. All right, my loves, that was took a different turn than I thought it would. But I came on to talk about forgiveness. And forgiveness, it is a journey that allows for healing while protecting and creating a strong energy field around us as well. Forgiveness is a key to everything. I am sorry me that I doubted. I doubted because, and you can go and track that back, right? What does it mean about me when I doubt? What does it mean about me when I don't doubt? I doubt because, like, why do I doubt? Is there evidence there? But the evidence, is there a greater meaning? Is there a greater truth beyond that evidence, whatever that experience might have been? What is it my soul was wanting to learn? And now what am I choosing? Am I creating from fear, obligation, heaviness, or am I creating from light and love, trust and faith? Really important moving forward that we might know we need to do something, but create a space. We know it will be for good, but if we're not in alignment with it, because maybe there's something in us still working its way out, I'll be asking those type of questions, right? I'm feeling this because, and this lives in me where? I'm sorry me this is here, I'm sorry this is feeling here, blah, 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 blah. Forgive me, and then let it open, let it loose. I love you. Come back home, any part of me that's been taken. Come back home, any part of me that's been abandoned. Come back home, any part of me that's been trapped in any ancestral loops or contracts. Please come home. All parts of me right here, right now. That's valid for Bernadette as well, and the ancestral stuff. Please come home. Any part of me that has been sacrificed. Please come home right here, right now. The absolute love and truth of all that I am by the commandment of the source that is and Christ. And so it is. I command all parts back home to you now. I command my energy back to me. I love you. And may love flow through us in the presence and love of all it is. All right, darlings.